Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you, depending where you are in the world. I'm in London. I'm doing the nighttime devotion from the devotional Christ Triumphant. The title today: Only Genuine Faith Survives When Tested. Exodus 14:31. And Israel saw the great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. The voices of the people rang out over the waters of the Red Sea in glorious triumph. But soon their faith was tested. The Lord would know how much he could depend on his people to be true and loyal to him. They went 3 days' journey into the wilderness and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. The people murmured against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" Instead of trusting and fearing the Lord, believing in him under apparently discouraging circumstances, they cast reflections upon their leader. So people act in this generation. Satan's plan of temptation is always the same. While everything moves prosperously, people think that they have faith. But when suffering, disaster, disappointment, when that comes and they lose heart, a faith that is dependent on circumstances or surroundings, that lives only when everything goes smoothly, is not a genuine faith. In his trouble, Moses cried out to the Lord. This is what the children of Israel, so recently delivered, ought to have done. The Lord heard the cry of his servant, against whom the people had so many bitter things. He showed Moses a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. It was not the virtue of the tree that turned the bitter water to sweet. It was the power of him who was enshrouded in the pillar of cloud, the one who can do all things. Did the people then appreciate and acknowledge God's blessings? Were their hearts filled with gratitude and thanksgiving to him? Did they have a praise service, as when they stood on the banks of the Red Sea? We have no evidence that their faith was strengthened by God's mercy and grace and love toward them. When trial comes to prove us, when we cannot see an increase of prosperity and comfort before us, but a probable lessening of these things, when there is a pressure necessitating sacrifice on the part of all, how shall we receive Satan's insinuations that we are going to have a hard time, that everything's going to pieces, that there is sore trouble ahead of us? We ought to gather up the fragments of heaven's blessings and tokens for good, saying, "Lord, I believe in thee, in thy servants, and in thy work. I will trust in thee." Only genuine faith survives when tested. And we know, if we read all about the Israelites coming out of Egypt, surviving the Red Sea, surviving the wilderness, we know, if we read it and we understand, that hardly any of them make it to Canaan. because of their moaning and murmuring, lacking of faith, turning away from God, turning to other gods. Even when they've seen everything that they've seen that God did for them to deliver them, to save them, to keep them, to feed them, and they still turn from Him. And He used an example here when they got to the waters at Marah, which were bitter, and they were all thirsty. And God said to Moses, take this tree and put it in the water. And the point it's making here, just as the point it made with Moses and his rod, it's not the rod that parted the Red Sea. It's not this tree that made the water sweet. If God had used Moses and said to Moses, say abracadabra, the water is sweet, and the water becomes sweet, everyone will be worshipping Moses. The people didn't believe. But as is quite rightly said here, we don't know if they had a praise party, if they were praising and worshipping God, saying thank you, etc., because it doesn't tell us that. But what it does tell us time and time again is that regardless what God does for the people, regardless what God does for us, you and me, we soon forget. Some easier and quicker than others. What is it God has done for you that would make you remember every single day who and what He is to you?